What's good, y'all? So the Boston Celtics are on top of the league right now with the best record, and they are dominating. But I don't think people really realize how good the Boston Celtics are. As I'm recording this, it's a little bit before the All-Star break, February 2nd, I believe. And I have them coming out the East right now as a pretty heavy favorite, and I also have them winning the NBA Finals. You might say that's kind of a cop-out answer, since they're the number one team in the league, they have the best record. But I think this team is specifically built to dominate the playoffs, and I think that's what they're going to do. You guys are going to be seeing this on a Saturday. They did play a game last night on Friday, but as I'm recording that, they didn't play yet, so some of these stats might be a little bit off. Keep that in mind, but it shouldn't be too crazy difference. As I said, though, they are the number one team in the league record-wise with a record of 37-15, which is absolutely elite. They also are second in offensive rating at 118, fifth in defensive rating at 111.8. They are the only team in the NBA to be in the top 5 in both of those. They're first in net rating at plus 6.2. They shoot the second most threes at 41.9, and they make the second most threes at 15.6, and that's their recipe for success. And you really can't talk about the Boston Celtics for too much without bringing up their main guy, Jason Tatum. Of course, he's been having a breakout season this year, playing incredible basketball, and in my opinion, really solidifying himself as a top player in this league. Upper echelon, I think he's solidified top 10, creeping up to maybe even top 5, if we're being honest. I'm not going to give him a specific spot yet just because I haven't sat down and really looked into it super deep in depth yet. That's definitely going to be a video down the line, don't worry. But just as of right now, I'm just top 10 for sure, creeping up on top 5 though. This season, Jason Tatum is averaging career highs in points, rebounds, 3-point attempt. He's tying his career high in assists per game, and his field goal percentage is the highest he had since his rookie season. His 31.1 points per game is good enough to have him as 4th in the NBA in scoring, which has helped him bring his offensive win shares up to 4.7. But don't get it twisted though, JT is one of the premier two-way players in the NBA right now. And you can see why with his defensive win shares being 2.7. Both of those numbers are good for first on Boston. And overall, he has 7.3 win shares, which is 5th in the league. As I said before, Jason Tatum really is solidifying himself as one of the best players in the league. And I know it's that joke, that meme of him and Kobe getting compared and everything, or him really comparing himself to Kobe. But I kind of see it. Hold your horses. I'm not saying he is Kobe Bryant, but just the smoothness in his offense is just, it really reminds me of Kobe with the mid-range, the athletic finishes and dunks over people, the three-point ball. He really has it all on offense, and he's really bringing it out this season. One thing that is definitely benefiting him this season, though, is the emergence of his number 2 guy, Jaylen Brown. It really is a luxury having an elite number 2 option to run with you on the court, and Jaylen Brown is putting up an argument this season to be the best number 2 option. Jaylen Brown is having a career year offensively, averaging a career-high 27 points per game, along with 7 rebounds and 3 assists. And he's doing all that, shooting a career-high 49% from the field. No second option in the NBA is averaging more points than Jaylen Brown, but just like Jason Tatum, he does it on both ends of the court, as he's second in defensive win shares for Boston at 2.2. Hindsight is 20/20, but I do find it hilarious that last season there was talks about breaking up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, that they weren't going to be able to work together. We all know how that story ended in a finals appearance, and like I said, I'm pretty sure that's going to reoccur this season. And even though the Celtics have one of, if not the best wing duo in the NBA, I don't even think that's where their biggest strength is. Beyond those top 2 guys, of course, they do a whole lot for this team. This Boston team has so much depth, it is insane. The position I think they are the deepest at, though, is guard. They have so many good guards on this team, it's wild. If you include Jaylen Brown as a guard, the Boston Celtics realistically have 4 starting caliber guards. We'll start off with the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, the first guard to win the award since Gary Payton, Marcus Smart. He's averaging 11 points, a career-high 7 assists per game, and he's also shooting a career-high 42% from the field. The assist number is really nice to look at for Marcus Smart, but his impact goes way beyond the box score. As I said, he was the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, and he's also just a huge energy guy, man. He hits big shots when the Celtics need him. He gets big stops when the Celtics need him. Really gets that TD Garden crowd going and roaring. He's a huge part to this Boston team. And the Celtics are fortunate enough to have Malcolm Brogdon backing up Marcus Smart. He's averaging 14 points per game with 4 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 48% from the field and a career-high 45% from 3. Brogdon is the 3rd leading scorer on the Celtics, right behind the duo of JT and JB. And did I mention that he's doing this all off the bench? He has not started a single game for Boston, and he is my favorite to win Sixth Man of the Year. Now moving on to Derek White, who is a huge acquisition from the Spurs last season, in the middle of the season. Been great for Boston, and I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. I don't know if people really realize how elite he is on both ends of the floor. And with Boston suffering some injuries throughout the season, to start off without Rob Will and then Marcus Smart going down, just the flexibility of the lineup, whether he's coming off the bench, starting the game, getting a lot of minutes, a little minutes, Derek White has been able to stay consistent for the Celtics, and it's been huge. He's averaging 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3.5 assists on an efficient 44% from the field and a very nice 37% from 3. And Derek White's only 6'4", but he plays a lot bigger than that, especially on defense. As you see there, he's averaging 0.9 blocks per game, which is second in guards, right behind Shea. He just brings a lot of energy and effort on the defensive side of the ball, and then on the offense side of the ball, he makes smart plays, makes smart passes, and knocks down the 3 ball. There's not really much more you can ask for from your role player. And then although he's having a down season, I did just want to highlight Peyton Pritchard here. He's kind of fallen out the rotation as they got Brogdon as their backup point guard now. He's averaging 5 points per game, a rebound and a half, and an assist. The shooting splits are not that good, but he's a career 40% three-point shooter. He's not getting a lot of minutes right now, as I said. He's just getting spot minutes here and there with the injuries. But I do think if they really need it, he can come in and play some minutes for them and do some good. Alright, so we covered the wings of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. That's one of their strengths, of course. We just covered their guards. That's one of their strengths. We haven't mentioned bigs. I guess that's where their really weakness is. No, you're wrong. This team really has no weakness. Between Al Horford and Robert Williams coming back from injury, he's been looking great. Working his way back, but still looking great. This team, man, I'm telling you, they are built for this. Starting off with Al Horford here, he has been amazing for this team as their vet. He'll run the power forward, the center, whatever you need him to do, he got that. Averaging 9 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists on a very efficient shooting, 43% from 3 as your center / power forward. That's really good, and he's shooting 5 attempts per game too on that. He protects the rim, he got active hands on defense. He can even switch out to a guard for spurts at a time. He's not going to lock him down, but he can do his own, hold his own for that. Then we got his running mate, Robert Williams, who's only played 18 games because he started the season off with an injured knee. Glad to see him back on the court, working his way up. He's been looking fantastic recently, averaging 8 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists on 77% from the field, a little over a block and half a steal per game as well on top of that, and only 23 minutes is elite production from Robert Williams. The Time Lord just defensively, man. I mentioned how Al Horford can switch onto guards. I'm rather have Robert Williams switch onto a guard. He can really hold his own, super mobile, moving his feet on the perimeter like that. Block shots, as I said before. He's just a defensive weapon. And having a healthy Robert Williams back in their lineup, I think, is really the key for them to make this playoff push and this finals push that I think they're capable of. Looking at their numbers last season, they played a total of 761 minutes together. And during those minutes, they are a plus 14 per 100 possessions. That's the second best for any two-man duo besides their main duo, Tatum and Brown. And since Rob is just coming back from injury, there's not enough data to see the numbers for just the two of them in the lineup. But when you look at the lineup of Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Robert Williams together, in 41 minutes played, they are a plus 48.4 per 100 possessions. That is the second best 5-man lineup that Boston has put on the court this season. Me personally, I can't wait till Rob just keeps ramping it up, get more into game condition. They're able to play him more minutes. Like I said, he's only averaging, I think, 23 minutes per game. He should definitely be playing probably closer to 30 than 20. But as he gets more healthy and gets more just used to playing NBA basketball again, this team could get really scary defensively. And I know we started this video off by talking about their two main wings of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I kind of wanted to end this video off with those guys' backups, their other wings that the Boston Celtics play. I haven't heard nearly enough people talk about the season that Grant Williams is having this year. He's career numbers across the board, as you can see. 9 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 48% from the field, 42% from 3 on 4 attempts. And that's not even mentioning the defensive Grant. He is a little bit undersized. He usually runs more power forward. But he's got that PJ Tucker body of just being super solid, hard to move. Kind of like that Zion body too. They're compact is how I would describe it. He may be undersized in height, but he's definitely not undersized in the weight room. He's a super strong defender, can really hold it down as kind of their enforcer, I would say. And then Sam Hauser, he doesn't play too much for the Boston Celtics, but when he does, he damn sure makes it count, averaging a career-high numbers for him as well, pretty much across the board. He's averaging 6 points on 39% from 3 on 4 threes per game. He pretty much just goes out there, chucks up a bunch of threes, and he makes a decent amount of them. That's all the Celtics really look for him to do, and that's all he really does, so it's a perfect relationship for them. So let's just tally off real quick all we talked about in this video on why the Celtics are so good. Their guards, elite. Starting guards, backup guards, very, very, very good. Their wings, that's where they get their star power from. Their starting wings, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, yeah. Their backup wings, we just talked about, very good in their roles. Their bigs, super good in their roles. The one thing I would say they're missing is that backup big. They got Luke Cornett running some backup big minutes for them right now, which he does his job, but if we're nitpicking looking for a weakness, I would say it's backup big. But honestly, if that's the only problem you have as a team, you're looking pretty solid. But the scary part is we're coming up to the trade deadline and they have enough assets to really fix that issue if they wanted. There's been some rumors that they're linked to Kelly Olynyk of the Jazz. I actually made a video mocking up a few trades for the Jazz at this deadline, so if you're interested in that, link in the description right now. But yeah, they're talking to the Jazz about Kelly Olynyk, seeing, what they really want for them. The Hornets just said that Mason Plumlee's available for a first-round pick if they want to go that route. There's a few different centers on the market that they can really go after if they're looking for it. But let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Do you think the Celtics are going to win the NBA Finals? Do you think they're going to come out the East? Do you think they're going to maybe get a second-round exit, get upset? Who knows? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there'll be links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.